Welcome to today's session from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, Chapter 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim. Yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam. Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhave evacha. Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. We are on verse 28 of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1. Drishtvevam swajanam Krishna yuyutsam sampustitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushyati. Arjun said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up." Verse 29. Veputhash cha sharire mi roma harshas cha jayate gandivam sramshate hastat tvak chaiva paridahyate. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiv is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. So in these two verses, 28, 29 and now verse 30, Nacha shaknomi avasthatum brahmativa cha me manaha nimitani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. So in these verses 28 to 30, we can see the bewilderment of Arjuna. He is being able to see the suffering and the death, that is the certain thing to happen, or it is the consequence of the war. Arjun questions the gaining of the kingdom of Hastinapur, which is after all a temporary gain, which will happen if the Pandavas, they are the winners in the war. Now he is thinking that this temporary gain, is it worth going through such a sin to gain the royal kingdom? And we know gaining of that is also going to be a kind of temporary thing, because nothing is permanent in this world. Things are changing all the time. Now Duryodhan, he was adamant to cause the killing, to be able to keep the kingdom. He wasn't bothered at all. Arjun was compassionate and soft-hearted. He did not wish to act like a fool. Now Prabhupada says in the purport of the verse 28 that Arjun's heart is soft, which is characteristic of a devotee of the Lord. Now Arjun hasn't got the spiritual vision yet, and he gets more and more bewildered as he's looking around the armies in the middle of the battlefield, as Krishna has taken the chariot to the middle of the battlefield and Arjun is surveying. He can see there'll be a big loss of life once this starts, this war commences. Now, in the lack of the spiritual understanding, one feels confused, and one is not sure about his relationship with the God, the real purpose of this world becomes a very upsetting thing, and one is disappointed by the challenges of the life brought. One cannot see the real purpose of life, and one cannot face the challenges of this life if one has got no relationship with the God. Everything is changing in this world all the time, as we see. And if we don't understand why we are born into this world, what is the purpose of this life, what is our relationship with the Lord, this life seems to be a futile exercise or a futile journey on this earth. Now, verse 31 to 32, 40, verses 31 to 42. Which is going to be kind of a turning point in the vision of what Arjuna is seeing at the moment and how it's going to turn. Verse 31, Na cha shreyo anupashyami hatva swajanma ahave na kankshe vijayam Krishna na cha rajyam sukhani cha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. Verses 32 to 35, Kim no rajyena govinda, kim bhoger jivitena va, yesham arthe kankshitam no, rajyam bhoga sukhani cha, tame vasishtha yuddhe, pranamash tyaktva dhanani cha, acharya pitarah putras tathaiva cha pita mahaha, matulah shvasura pautraha shyalaha sambandhina tatha etan nahantum ichhami gnato api madhusudana api trailokya rajasya heto kim nu mahi krite nihatya dhartrashtram nah ka pritihi ka pritihi syaj janardana. Translation: O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, and all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield. O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Verse 36, Papam eva shrayed asman hatvaitan atatayinah tasman naraha vayam hantum dhartarashtran bandhavan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina shyama madhava. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? 37-38 verse. Yadi ape ete na pashyanti lobho pahata chetasah kula kashya kritam dosham mitra drohe chapatakam katham na gneyam asamabhihi papad asman nivartitam kula kshaya kritam dosham papash yadbhir janardana. O Janardan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? Verse 39, Kulakshay pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam kritsam adharmo bibhivati uta. Verse 40. The translation for 39 first. With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Verse 40. Adharma bhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kula striyah strishu dushtasho varshneya jayate varna shankaraha. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Verse 41. Sankaro narakaeva kula gnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hi esham luptapindo daka kriyaha. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Verse 42. Doshai rate kulagnanam varna sankar ke utsadyante jati dharma kula dharmascha shashvata. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. So Arjun is starting to justify his resolve for not fighting. Arjun thinks that he should withdraw from the fight. Now, it is morally not right to kill so many soldiers prematurely. This is the first reason which is going through his mind. The second reason going through him is that the gaining of an opulent kingdom will not be of any kind of joy to him, as there won't be any relatives left on this earth to enjoy the kingdom with. And the third reason is he would rather gather a lot of bad karma due to such a he would rather not gather such a lot of bad karma due to such a destructive war, because the killing is going to give him bad karma. The fourth reason is that the war should be not happening, because it is not just good for it is not just going to destroy the family, but it is also going to destroy the society at large, which would bring a lot of misery and grief for the coming generations. And Arjun put aside his Gandiv and he decides not to fight them towards the end of chapter 1. Arjun wonders how Krishna, who is also known as Janardana, how can he desire the destruction of the people? Now Arjun hopes to remain sin-free. He doesn't wish to become sinful. Pandavas, they suffered each of the 6 forms of aggressors through the Kauravas. They were being attacked at the battlefield by Kauravas, which is the first aggressor. The second aggressor is that they were poisoned. Bhima was given the poisoned food by Duryodhana to kill him. Third aggressor was they were given a house made of lac to live by Duryodhana, so they could be set on fire when they were sleeping. Fourth aggressor was Shakuni cheated Pandavas at the dice game and they lost all their wealth to the Kauravas. Fifth, when Kauravas occupied all the land of the Pandavas. Sixth aggressor was that they also stole Draupadi in foul play, through foul play in the dice game. Now still Arjuna, after all these aggressions from the Kauravas to them, to the Pandavas, he's still worried due to the dharma, as killing is never allowed. Arjuna is worried for the destruction of both sides in the war and the traditions and generations being left without guidance, And this is going to lead into an impious living in the society. The women will become irreligious in the footsteps of men if the men will be doing such kind of irreligiosity by fighting between each other and killing each other, and the teachers also joining in this war, so, or the gurus as we call them. So as a result, unwanted population would be there in the society. So Arjun decides not to fight on the chariot, and he sat down with the grief, thinking about the impending disaster coming to the world. He must have been really disturbed to sit down like that on the chariot. So the last verses 43 to 46 of Bhagavad-Gita, the same theme continues there. Arjun continues to say how he has heard from the disciplic succession or the parampara that the destroying of the family traditions, one has to live in hell if one destroys the family traditions. Arjun is morally conscious and he's a devotee, and he wants to avoid the sinful act of war in lieu of the enjoyment of the royal life in the royal kingdom. And now he would rather be killed by the sons of Dhritarashtra unarmed, and he doesn't even want to protect himself. And he sits down towards the last verse 46. Sanjay Vacha evam uktva Arjuna sankhe rathopastha upavishat visarjya sa saram chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. Sanjay said, Arjun, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So with this, we've come to the end of chapter 1. Next time we will continue with chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Thanks for joining. Hare Krishna.